Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for our live. I am so excited to be talking to you all today. Today, we are going to be talking about saving trackers. Saving trackers. If you can hear me, put it in the comments below. I've missed you all so much. I'm believing this might be our new time. I'm just trying to still figure out my full on schedule. But thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about saving trackers, the different saving trackers that I use, how I use them, how it helps me to save money, and how you can possibly use them, and just different things that we can do in this season to help us to save more money. I have always felt like there is just so much more to do with my money than how much money I have set aside. So put it in the comments below if you agree with me, like especially in this season with the recession, with inflation, with all of the things that are currently going on. There's just so much more things to do, repairs to make, things to purchase, things to happen, then we actually have money in the bank. And so I really have been, for the month of April, I am really kicking into gear my savings journey. And I wanted to talk to you all just about it and talk to you about where I have been in the past, the saving trackers that I am planning on using, sharing some of that all with you all. And hello, remember, if you have any questions as I'm going through today's material, please make sure to do #Q and add your question into the chat box. But when I see that #Q, it allows me to know that that it's a question and I need to answer it. At the end of today's session, I will answer all questions. And if you are a part of Organize You, you know all of the slides from today, along with the saving trackers that I'm going to be talking about, is going to be available for you on the site, on our membership site. So you are able to go over there. Hello, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you all. Remember, if you have a question, #Q. So I am starting, and I'm going to dive into this. The Organized Savings Workbook is something that I'm going to be talking about today. It is a bunch of trackers. I believe I pinned it at the very top of the comment section or the live section so that you can see it. I am going to be talking more about it and how I use it. And if you're interested in the download, it is available now on my Etsy shop. And so you can get a whole, it's 20 trackers that's in there. And it ranges from saving $250 to saving $20,000. So it's a bunch of different varieties for whoever may need it and however you may need to save. But let's go ahead and dive into today's class. Here is our agenda. This is what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about my saving journey, why I started to use trackers, and where I store the money when I am tracking or using these trackers. How do the different ways that I will save the money, how to use trackers. So we're going to dive a little bit into the best ways so that you can be successful with using these trackers. How many should you be doing at one point in time? And what if you don't have enough money? How do you kind of set aside and save for different things? So this is everything we're going to be talking about today, along with answering your questions. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat box, #Q. And if you have any other, and if you want the Organized Savings Workbook, like I said, I've linked it to the top. I'll link it in the description box after this video is posted, because you know we are live right now. But after we jump off live, I will have it pinned in the comment at the top if you're interested in the Organized Savings Workbook. All right. Let's talk a little bit about my journey. So I started my financial journey in 2012. However, I didn't get really consistent with saving money until 2014. I have used trackers, or trackers have helped me throughout my journey with two things: paying off debt or saving money. Saving, like, one or the other. If I had a particular goal or something I was trying to do, usually trackers will help me with that. Or if I was trying to pay off something, usually trackers will help me with that. I always had an issue with saving money on my own before I started using trackers because I would transfer money into my savings account and then transfer it back. How many of you have done that? Because something happened, right? I remember like trying to save up to $250 in one payday. And I moved it over to my savings account. And I think I made it 3 days before I ended up having to move the money back. And I was moving it back in bits and pieces, but I did end up moving it back. And it was because I didn't have a good system for saving my money. I was trying to save too much. I had a hard time being consistent. So since I wasn't being consistent, I needed to save large amounts of money at one time, and I never could keep it saved. I never could keep it saved. So I felt like I kept trying and kept failing. And if this is you, I feel like all of us need something that is going to help us focus on this journey, something that is going to make it a little bit more tangible, a little bit easier to help you kind of stay on this journey. And that's what trackers did for me. That is why I started using them consistently. That is why I kind of stick with them and I still use them. I have been using them for probably for the past like 4 years now, maybe longer than that, but I've been using them for quite some time. And I absolutely love them. So I wanted to dive into them with you. Why should you use them? First thing, it keeps you motivated. If you have that hamster wheel of saving and then stopping and then being consistent and then not being consistent and then trying to put a whole bunch of money on the side and then pulling it out for something else, first thing that savings trackers will do for you, or having some type of tracker, it really helps you to move the money and leave it there. You want to know why? Because once I color in, I'm showing you my bingo savings tracker, which this is the one that you can get off of my website. It's under my resources. I want to say this one, or if you've ever joined my email list, I send this one out to you. But once I color in an amount on this tracker, I literally do not want to, I end up not wanting to touch it because I've colored it in and I don't want to mess up my chart. And it's something as simple as that makes me actually stick to saving money more often. I don't know if it would be that simple for you, but I know once I colored it in, once I have set this aside, I'm a little bit more motivated to kind of stick to it. I am going to talk about I see that someone's asked about capital and the bank account. We are going to talk about bank accounts and we are going to talk about the Capital app. Not Capital One. This is different, but I am going to show it to you a little bit later in this class because it is one of the ways I am still using Capital. I have been using Capital probably for about 4 or 5 years as well because I got on trackers and Capital all at the same time. I'm going to be talking about the different ways that I use it as well. But the first reason why I believe you should use trackers is one, like I said, it keeps you motivated. It keeps you consistent. It makes you actually want to do it. The second thing is it helps you to see your progress. When you're able to use a tracker on a consistent basis, you are able to see your progress way more than if you weren't using a tracker. Because saving money, it's a journey. Paying off debt, it's a journey. And since it's a journey and since it can take some time, you need something that's going to keep you motivated, that's going to keep you excited, that's going to keep you in a spot where you want to continue to save. And a lot of times trackers will do that for you. Trackers will help you, make you feel like, you know what? I am on this journey, but I can see my progress, and being able to see your progress helps you to stick to it a little bit longer. The third reason is it gives you more accountability. When I have to open my planner and I see that tracker staring me in the face, it makes me want to color it in, do something with it. It makes me realize that I need to save more money. And just that trigger of seeing that tracker in my planner, opening it up to my budget section, and it's one of the first things that I see, it makes me be like, ooh, can I save any money? And something as simple as this piece of paper in your planner can do that for you. You will be surprised at how something so simple or so small can really help you on this journey. Okay, so this is why you should use a savings tracker. So let's keep going. How do I save? Where are the different ways that I save these saving trackers? Well, the first way that I will save is using a long-term savings account. So I have talked about long-term savings account before. One of my favorites is Ally. I believe that currently their interest rate is about 3.4%, 3.40%, which is a really good percentage for across the board for long-term savings account. But I do like to have an account that is separate and apart from all of my other bank accounts. So I've shared with you all before that I have 5 bank accounts. I have 5 bank accounts. So I have my spending account. This is the account that's attached to my debit card if I need to spend money. I also have my bill account. That's the account for all of my bills. I have my business account. My business is what pays me, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur, so I do have a separate business account. And then I have my long-term account, which is the one that we're talking about right now. That is for emergencies. And then we have my short-term account. My short-term account is a separate savings, an account that I will use for like repairs or vacation or something like that. So how do I save? I can save in my long-term savings account. This is for emergencies. So the difference between my long-term savings and my short-term savings, long-term savings is for true emergency. The only 2 things that classify as a true emergency for us, for my family. Now, we each identify different things and we each decide what is an emergency to you. But my family has defined an emergency as a medical emergency, someone's life is in danger, something that we need to do in order to pay for something that's going to either get us to someone or get some type of medical care for someone in our family, someone that is in need. So that's the first emergency, some type of medical life or death emergency. The second one is if we lose our jobs. So if anything was to happen to me and I needed to take a break from my business, or if anything happened to my husband and we needed to take a break from his business, then for 6 months, we would have money within this long-term savings account to keep us covered. So those are the 2 emergencies that we would consider an emergency in our house. And that is how I decide what goes into my long-term savings account. So my long-term savings account is set up for living for 6 months if we received no income at all, or if there is some type of medical emergency. A couple of years ago, my husband's dad had a medical emergency and he needed to fly out to see him. We took money from this account to get him that last minute flight so that he could go and be with his dad. So things like that, we're talking about really, really strict emergencies, but those are the 2 emergencies that we have defined. The other account that we have though is our short-term savings account. Now, my short-term savings account is with all of my other accounts. I have 4 accounts that are with the same bank, and then I have this one account, which is different, is my long-term savings account. But the 4 accounts that I have together, one of them is my short-term savings account. Short-term savings is for short-term craziness, repairs, anything random that would happen that's not a medical emergency or anyone losing their job. It's just a smaller emergency, but it's something that we need to take care of right this very second. So those are the 2 terms of how I would save for those particular things. I have my long-term savings, my short-term savings. My short-term savings is basically a checking account. It is, I don't want to have any limits. If I need to move money, I can. But because of the savings trackers and the system that I have put into place, I don't have to move money as often from this account because of the way that I am able to save. And we're going to dive into the different ways that I use the trackers. But for now, I just want you to understand how and where the money is sitting and why it's sitting in that way. All right. So we have the long-term savings and the short-term savings. You could use a basic savings account in order to do this, right? Like I know I'm going to talk about cash envelopes. I'm going to talk about capital. I'm going to talk about the apps. But if you say, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with cash. I don't want to have to deal with any additional apps. I just want to keep all of this money in my checking account. That is okay. My only suggestion is that you divide up. It's separate from your bills. That is my only suggestion, right? So even if you decide I don't need five accounts, I want two. Okay, that's great. Have one account for your bills and one account for savings, or three. One for spending, one for bills, and one for saving. You just want to have a solid system and you want to be able to stick to that system. So stick to something that you are definitely going to work with, that is going to be a good fit for you and your family. Okay, so long-term savings is for big emergencies. Short-term savings is for car repairs. It's for house repairs. It's for other random little things that kind of come up. So what about the things in between, right? We're talking about, what about vacation? What about Christmas, Elena? What about all of those little things, birthdays, anniversaries that you still need to save money for because they don't come up every single month? But you don't have money currently you don't want to use your short-term savings account for birthdays and for anniversaries and for Christmas because you need your short-term savings account in case something crazy happens to your car or because something else might happen to the house. Okay, so this is how I already talked about the two. Now let's talk about how I save for the other little random things that kind of come up. The second way that I will save is using cash envelopes. My cash envelope system, I have shared this system quite some time. This is cash envelopes from my shop. The black one I use for spending, and the brown one I use for saving. So the black envelope that you see in here, this little black cash envelope I have here, I use that for spending. So that is me setting aside weekly money for food, for shopping, for gas, for all of the little things that I might need during the week. However, when it comes down to saving, we are saving for random little things that we need. And the thing is that I will decide what I'm going to save in cash and what I'm going to save in the third option, which is the app. To be honest, the way that I usually decide how much I'm saving, if I'm saving it in cash or using an app, is based on the amount that I need to save. If I am saving for something like a birthday and I need to save like $300 or $400 or something like that just to celebrate a birthday, then I would probably save that in cash, right? So that is going to be in that brown little envelope. I will save that in cash. However, if I need to save for something big, like my pool, I want to get the pool redone. It's not a repair. More than likely, it's some type of home project or something really big that I want to save for instance, for Christmas, because Christmas in my house, we always travel. So our expenses for Christmas are much larger than probably almost any other family, but we always travel. So I usually will save that separately, right? So I will use my cash envelopes for saving for smaller sinking funds or smaller things that I know I want to do. So anniversaries, birthdays, other little small things, that events, parties, gifts, tips, things like that would be in this brown envelope. Those are the things that I'm keeping in this brown envelope. So my black envelope is for spending money throughout the week. My brown envelope is for saving for all of those other things that could possibly come up. But usually they're expenses that is going to be under $500 that I want to save in cash so that when they come up, I just have the cash for them, right? So hopefully that fully, like you can really grip my system, that you understand the way that I do it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do it this exact same way. This might be too much for you. This is the way that my brain works, and it is working for me. You may pick only one of these methods. I use all of them for different things because for some reason, playing games and having charts and stuff like that, it makes it fun for me. And I end up being more consistent on my journey, which is why I'm sharing all of the options for you. All right. So let's talk about the third option. The third option is one that I have been talking about for quite some time, and that is Capital. I saw a couple of people asking about Capital. Chris just was saying, I use the Capital app and I've opened up another savings account for all of the money challenges and trackers. Capital is a wonderful app, guys. It is a wonderful app. I absolutely love this app, and I have been using it probably for the past 6 years. And I will use it to create buckets in order to save money, right? So with Capital, yes, I'm so happy that you're using it, Chris. It's one of my favorites. I promise you, I love Capital. But the great thing about it, and hopefully you all can see this. Let me make it a little bit bigger because I want y'all to see this. As y'all can see, you download the app, you connect your bank to the app, and then it will save money for you based on the rules you set. So one of the rules that I like to set is payday rule. And that is when the Capital app sees that I have a deposit in my account over a certain amount, and you can set that amount. I say, oh, if you see a deposit that's over $500, then take 100 of it. I want you to take 100 of it and put it in the Capital app. You can put spending amounts. If I spend $5.45, I want you to round it up to $6 and save the change. You can say, if I spend a certain amount, take the other half. There are a whole bunch of rules, and I really love the different rules that they have. One of my favorite rules, though, is, to be honest, is the payday rule, because sometimes I don't like it to tell me how much I'm spending, especially if I'm using my cash envelopes to spend. I don't want it to just go in and randomly take money. But when you set payday rules, then it will automatically only do it when you've gotten a deposit over a certain amount. And that is one of my favorite rules that it has. The other thing about this one that I really love as well is that if your account is a certain balance, let's say you say, you know what, if my account is at $100, don't take anything. The app will listen to you, so it won't overdraft your account. Love that. Because you know how you have certain things set up and you have automatic savings and all this other stuff? Promise you, this app is great. And if you use my code, I have a code that's in my description box, I want to say. I will post it after this. If you use my code, then you get $25 once you do your first deposit with the app. So it's like you get 25, I get 25, everybody wins. You get to start your savings account. So I really love that. Yeah, I love the payday rule. I believe you can use the app if you are not in the United States. I know I haven't tried, so you'll have to definitely let us know, but I believe you can. Now, this one is not exactly like Mint. I saw someone that asked, was it like Mint? It is not exact, because Capital is more like really around your savings and not your budget. It is not really attached to your budget as a whole, like Mint. Like Mint will break down how much you're spending. Mint will suggest your budget rules for you. It will do all of that. Capital is not like that. Capital really is all about helping you save. So you set up buckets. So you'll say, I want to save. I like to use this app for my bigger goals. So I have it currently. I am saving for Christmas, and I am saving for my pool. Like, we're doing something different with our pool, which is more cosmetic than repair. So I am saving that in the Capital app. And that is how, like, you set up your buckets, you set up the different things that you want to save, and then you decide your rules around that saving. And so I I love this one. Yeah, Mint is confusing for me as well. I really love Capital because it's super simple. It's super simple. Okay, let me keep going because I feel like I've been talking long on this part. But try the Capital app. I will have the link there. I want to say there is a fee. I want to say it's like a $4 fee or something like that. If you know, Chris, do you have a fee associated with yours? When I first downloaded, it was a free app, and so I was grandfathered in. And I never like unsubscribed or got out of it. So when they first created the app, it was free, and I know it was. So I was recommending it all the time. But I believe there is a small fee now, or you have to have a certain amount in there. I'm not 100% sure. But if anybody is currently using it and there is a fee, can you drop in the comments and let us know what that fee is? Yeah, I know it's not a bad fee. It's not a lot, but $30 for the year. There it is. She said she paid, Mercedes says she paid $30 for the year. So there you go. Chris is saying it's $6. It's $6 for the month. So you can either do the 30 for the year or the 6. She's saying that that's her fee. Okay. But the buckets feature, I promise y'all, it is so I made it too popular. I'm sorry. When I tell y'all, I love this. I love the app. I really do. I always tell everyone about it, and maybe that's why they started charging for it. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But even with the fee, I promise y'all, it's worth it. I know a lot of times we get hung up on the little fees, but I promise y'all, you end up saving so much more than you end up having to spend on the app. That like it really, it's really worth it. Okay, how do we use this tracker? How do you use this tracker? How do I use it? The first thing that you want to decide whenever you are looking at any trackers is know how much do you need. So once you decide, I want to save for Christmas, I like to think of, all right, how much do I need for Christmas? The very first thing that I will usually say is I will look at how much did I spend on Christmas last year. So if you know how much you need this, you don't know how much you need this year, you're like, oh my goodness, this is the very first time I've ever saved this type of money or ever saved this way, but I need to save for a vacation, or I need to save for Christmas, or I need to save for my birthday, and I have no idea how much to save. The very first thing you need to do is look at how much you spent last year. How much did you spend on Christmas last year? How much did you spend on your birthday last year? What did you do last year? And look at your bank transactions. If you don't know, go back to your bank transactions, go back to December and add everything up. And it will easily, and you can even download your transactions from the bank and just highlight them in Excel, and it'll tell you the total amount. It'll tell you the total amount of how much you have spent. And this will help you when you're trying to decide how much you're going to save for this current year, right? So how much do you need? That's the first thing that you need to know. If I say usually for Christmas, I like to save around $1,200 to $1,500. So that's my first thing. I'm like, okay, I need about $1,500. Then I'm going to decide my second question, how long do I have to save it? How long do I have to save it? So if it is Christmas and it's currently April, all right, so you got a couple of months to save $1,500. How much do I need to save in each month in order to hit that particular goal? You got to know how much you need, how long do you have before you can save it, and then you can select a tracker that is going to help you. So let me show you some of the trackers that you could possibly use within this workbook. I am going to share a couple of them. However, here's the thing. You don't even have to do this workbook. You could create your own trackers. You could draw your own trackers. You could get really, really creative with this. I just like to create different things for you all, just in case you're like, yeah, I don't have time for that. I just want to get to saving. So that this is for anyone who just wants it, but you could really recreate anything like this. So I have $250. This is like one of my top ones that I like to save for the smaller things that we have. So usually if it's a birthday, if it's an event that's coming up, or it's our anniversary, or a really big or a really good date night. And I literally was like, okay, I want to use this in order to save $250. So I'll say, okay, for this month, I'm going to do the next 30 days. I want to say this is 30 numbers and it's $250. And I could say, I'm going to do it in 30 days. I could say, I'm going to do it in 2 months. I'm going to say, I could do it every time I get paid. I'm going to see how much I can save. And as you can see, they have really, really small amounts. And that's the fun thing about using these trackers. They aren't really, really large amounts. I get to be able to save $14, $7, $10, $12, $7, and get to 250 and then have it for my event. Same thing for if you wanted to save 1,000. Now, this is the bingo savings chart. Now, this is the one that's free on my website. It's also in the workbook if you wanted to use the workbook. But once again, $20, $7. I did this one. The last time we did it was in November. And when I did it in November, I was preparing for Christmas, and I did it with a bunch of you. A lot of you jumped on board. I told y'all we were going to do the savings tracker for the month of November, and you all did it. And a bunch of you saved $1,000 with me, and we were saving money every single day for the month of November. So I was saving it from the 1st to the 30th. It was tough. It was a tough challenge for me, because some days I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I have $5. I don't think I have $29, but I found a way to make it happen. And you would be surprised at how you actually hit that goal once you're focused on actually hitting that goal. So we did this through the month of November. And like I said, you're able to use this chart in order to save little amounts every single day. I have another one that's for saving $2,000. And as you can see, it's $100 is like the highest number on here, but you have $40, $80, $60, and there is no time frame. So you get to decide how long you want to take in order to save these particular amounts. You could say, I want to save it all in 30 days, or I want to save it. I'm going to just do it every single payday. I'm just going to do it every now and then. However you want to do it, but this will help you when you're setting up your deadlines for when you want to save money, right? Now, so those are all of the trackers, and then there are a bunch more. Like I said, it's 20 trackers within that workbook. And if you're a part of Organize You, I want to say this before we get to the end and some of y'all go and buy it. Don't buy it. If you're a part of Organize You, I am sending this all to you all for this month. You're going to get it in the mail. And I also have it on our website because I want to do some saving trackers with you this upcoming month. So I am sending it to you, Organize You members. You're getting it in the mail. All right. How many trackers do I use at one time? This is probably one of the top questions that I've gotten. How many do I use? I usually don't use any more than 4 trackers. And how do I divide it up? I usually will set a long-term goal. So I'm always saving for my long-term emergency fund. I am always saving, putting a little bit of money aside for long-term savings. So I might say, okay, I'm going to put $50 in my long-term savings account just to have some money in there. The second one is my short-term savings. Short-term savings, I'm always saving. These two, I'm always putting money in. Every single time I get paid, I'm going to put money in my long-term savings account and my short-term savings account, even if it's like $5, guys. I am so serious. So I will do $50 to my long-term savings, $50 to my short-term savings. But the other 2 things, so this would be a tracker. long-term savings, I'll have an assigned tracker that I save for that. Usually I will pick like my larger numbers, like it'll be, I'm saving $5,000 this year for long-term savings just to add it in. And I'm saving $3,000 for my short-term savings. I will pick that tracker and then I will color that one in. So those are the first two trackers that I'm going to be using. The second two trackers, though, are going to be set aside for some type of goal, something that I want to do. So my goals usually change with every single month, right? So all of the time, you're not trying to save for everything all of the time, because we can't save for everything all of the time. So usually I will pick two goals that I'm currently saving for like the next 2 months. So right now, right this very second, I am currently saving for my daughter's birthday, which is in May. Her birthday comes up really soon. It's May 6th. So I'm saving for that. That's goal number one. And my second goal is repairs for our pool. We have some different things that we have to do. And I said, some of it is cosmetics, some of it is repairs, but I am saving for that. So I'm going to use two trackers for the month of April and May for those two goals. My other goals, I'm not saving for them yet. I'm not saving because I don't have any extra money. So we're literally talking about putting aside maybe $200, $250, just depends on how much I can pull from my checking account. But I'm going to be filling out 4 trackers, one for my long-term savings, one for my short-term savings, one for my goal 1, which is my daughter's birthday, one for my other goal, which is our pool. The third goal that I may have is going to be for my birthday, which is in July. I'm not saving for it yet. I probably won't start saving for it until after May 6th, which is after my daughter's birthday, when I can switch off of that goal and put into another goal. So don't try and save for everything. And another thing you could possibly do, because this is something else I would do, I might not save as much. Like if I do have extra money, let's say I need to save $500 and I say, oh, I have 100 here, 100 here, 200 here, 100 here, right? I've saved 500. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I actually have more money. Maybe I didn't spend as much as I thought I was going to spend, and I have an extra 100. I might put some extra money in my third goal, which is for my birthday, or the fourth goal, which is for Christmas, because I got extra. But currently, I am not saving for those on a consistent basis, because I need to focus on the 4 that really matter and are coming up way sooner. Okay, so this is how I will usually do it. I'm not usually saving any more. I'm not usually using any more than 4 trackers. I'm usually not saving for any more than 4 things. And 2 of those things are the set things, right? So 2 of those are my long-term savings, my short-term savings. That's never going to change. But my goals will. So if this month I'm saving, in the month of April, I'm saving for my daughter's birthday. But in June, I might be saving for my birthday. In September, I'll be saving for Christmas or for Thanksgiving. But my goals will change throughout the year. And I know a lot of times I will set up my sinking funds. And when I'm talking about my sinking funds and I have like 15 of them, usually I will get a comment that's like, how are you able to save for 15 things? How are you able to save for 20 things? That's just not. And I'm like, I'm not saving for 20 things. I am never saving for everything all at once, because there is something that always comes up. There is something that's always, so we always are making a decision. We're always deciding what we want to save for, how often we want to save, what we're going to do, and how long we're going to do it. It's always the case. So if that's the case, what is your top priority? So I will usually decide, what's my goal 1? What's my top goal this month? What's my second goal this month? What's my third goal? Okay, if I can get to my third and fourth, if I can, great. If there is extra money, perfect. But if not, then I'll wait until I can actually do it. Okay? If y'all have questions, hashtag Q. I think I got one more slide. And then I can get to any questions that's in the chat box. So just go ahead and drop them there. All right. My last question, the one that I usually get the most, what if you don't have enough money? What if you don't have enough money to put in all of these different trackers or different things that you're trying to do? And everything is right now. I need all of the money right now. I don't even have time to like set aside for later date. It's not July. Everything is right now. If that is the case, here are the two things that I usually will decide. Here's the thing. This is not easy. It's not. We wish we had all of the money to do all of the things all of the time. That would be amazing. But this is why we have the budget. This is why it's always decisions. This is why we always got to think about our timeline. This is why planning is so important, and why I talk about paper planning so much. This is why I write it down. This is why, because it's not easy. It is not easy. We gotta think through and be very strategic with how we decide we're going to spend our money. So these are the two things that I will decide if I just like, okay, I don't have enough to do all of the things that I want to do. I don't have it. First thing I will usually decide, can I borrow from another category? So something comes up and it's coming up really soon and you don't have enough money. Your car broke down and you need it now, right now, right? So what if I want to hit it by this, right? And I wanted to save this, but I didn't get a chance to save it. And now I need the money right now. The first thing I will say is, can I borrow it from somewhere else? Is there another area where I can get it? I am supposed to have $500 for this upcoming expense, but I couldn't because my car broke down. I need to take that $500 from this envelope instead of for this event and put it on the car. That may be a decision that I have to make. Can you borrow it from somewhere else? And do you have the timeline? You might say, okay, I hate to pull this money from this cash envelope, but right now my car is more important than this. So let me pull it from there. And if that is the case, if that does happen, then how do you rebuild? One thing that you do is you just keep doing what you can. So the second thing I will do is save what I can and try and cash flow the rest. So saving what I can looks like me adding in, I will save money for, let's say for my daughter's birthday. My daughter's birthday is coming up in May. I just said that I'm trying to save, let's say I'm trying to save $500 for her birthday. Saving $500, but something happens to our car and I need to take $250 of that and put it on the car. Okay, now I am $250 less for my daughter's birthday, and her birthday is this weekend, right? So what do? The first thing I will do is I will say, okay, can I pull it from somewhere else? Oh no, the first thing I will do is, can I cash flow it? Because I might be able to cash flow it. So the first thing I usually will say is, can I cash flow it? If I have $250, can I add $250 into my budget for the other half? If I have half, let me see, can I put it to where I act like this is a bill and I pay for the other half out of my monthly budget? If I can, great, cash flow it. If I cannot, that's when I start to look at another account. Can I pull it from short-term savings? Can I pull it from my Christmas fund? Can I pull it from my pool fund or from my home repairs? Now, I won't take it from long-term savings because, like I said, there's only 2 instances where I pull from that one. But every other account is pretty much fair game, to be honest. I will pull from capital if I absolutely have to. I can pull from my short-term savings account if I have to, and I will cash flow if I have to. I will put it within my budget if I have to. But those are the ways that I will decide, okay, if I don't have enough money for this particular thing, how can I make it to where I can pull it from somewhere else and plan a different timeline for that other thing that I'm trying to do. Okay. All right. So I want to say that's my last slide. Let's see. Just a reminder about the Organized Savings Workbook. If you're interested in it, I do have the printed version and the download version if you wanted to get either or. I suggest if you get it, you print it out, you punch holes in it, you put it in your planner, and you look at it every single time that you get paid. You highlight one number from one of these charts every single time that you get paid. I highly advise that you do it. It changed my life. It really using trackers has definitely changed my life and changed how much I was able to save on a consistent basis. All right. Remember, if you're a part of Organized You, this doesn't apply to you because I am sending it to you. Be on the lookout. It's in your mailbox. It is headed your way next week. All right. So let's get to some of your questions. I'm going to try and see if, remember, use hashtag Q, hashtag Q. Do you set a must have XYZ by this date, or do you say I hit the amount when I hit the amount? So it depends. It depends. If it's Christmas, it is by that date, right? Because Christmas is Christmas. And usually for Christmas, it is not Christmas Day for me. It is December 1st. Because December 1st is when, usually Black Friday is when I'm going to start shopping. And so that is my deadline for Christmas. And so that is by that date. But when it comes down to long-term savings, short-term savings, those accounts, girl, I could save forever because there's always something. There's always something to pay for. There's always something that's going to come up. So with those, I am just saving. And when I hit it. And a lot of times, especially with my short-term savings account is doing this all the time because it's like, I want to say it's just for repairs and but it's also for miscellaneous random things that just come up. And so it's usually like up where I'm like, oh, I got a couple $1,000s in there, and then I will spend it all on something crazy there, and then it's like inching back up. Now, I do try my best to keep it at around like 30,000 because on average, to be honest with my family, that's just going to be our average random expense. It always happens. But when it comes to short-term savings, it's like if I have a lot of repairs in my home, usually it's happening around this time, around the summer. And then it kind of doesn't, I don't have as many repairs around the end of the year. This is just the trend that I've noticed that have happened within my family. So I'm like up and down, up and down. That is just usually how I do it. Okay. So, like I said, it depends. You get to decide which one you need by a certain date and how long you have to hit that goal. And then you get to decide which ones are kind of like, okay, I can just save as much as I can. So things that depend on that date, birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, those types of things, usually you want to need that by a certain time. So you will have more of a timeline with those things than you may have with just general savings or long-term savings or emergency savings or things like that. Okay. Do you send goodies to you? Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. Now make sure that you signed up for the Happy Mail within the membership. Everyone, no matter who is, if you're a part of Organized You, I'm sending things to London. I've sent things like, if you're part of Organized You, you get it. But if you haven't seen the last thing that I sent, because I started sending y'all more goodies in the mail when I realized I wasn't going to be able to go live as much. I wanted to still give y'all some treats and still send y'all some videos. So I am doing videos, more like standalone videos and more goodies in the mail for you all. So make sure you sign up for the Happy Mail under the membership. Like when you go under Start Here, you sign up for the Happy Mail because that's the only way I will know your address. I need your address. You signed up? Okay, so I need to check it. And make sure that it's not getting stuck because sometimes y'all stuff gets stuck in customs. I'm not going to lie. Like the one for London, I know it came back to me. So I'm going to check again. Email me. Email me. I'm going to put my email here and email me your address so I can check it in the system and make sure that it's not getting stuck in customs or anything like that. Because sometimes it will do that if it's not worded right. It will get stuck. Do you set a budget first before using the Capital app? Yes. So I will usually set up my budget And then I will set my monthly budget and decide how much I want to save within capital, how much I want to save in cash, how much I want to save throughout like, how do I want to save this month? And if you are interested, tomorrow's video, what's today? Thursday. Yes. Tomorrow's video, Friday's video, 4 p.m. Central, the exact same time that I went live today, I'm going to post my April setup. And my April setup is going to look extremely different from all of the other videos that I have done in the past regarding my budget, because I wanted to show you all the old budget planner that I had in probably like the very first budget planner that I had. I am using that style because it was requested. And I also am going to be setting up my savings, my cash savings, my capital savings, and all of that. So in that video, I'm going to show you a little bit more of how I do the deep dive and decide how much I'm going to save when I set up my budget. Okay, so make sure you be on the lookout for that video. I will try my best to email it out when I send it, when I post it as well. All right. Yeah, don't worry about doing this perfectly. There is no perfect savings. It's just not possible, because life be lifing, y'all. Life, Lord, it's really like, and especially nowadays, everything is just so expensive. Everything is so high. Everything is, it's just all over the place. So you have to give yourself a lot of grace on this journey. You're not going to be perfect on this journey. Sometimes your budget is going to go perfectly, and then other times it's going to completely fall apart, and you're going to be upset. And it's okay to be upset. Give yourself grace and say, you know what? Deep breaths, let me get back to it. And the biggest part of this entire journey is just not giving up. That's the whole thing. If you could stay consistent and not give up, you're already winning. You're already winning. Okay? What's the difference between in the savings trackers and the savings jars? So not much. With the savings jars that's actually in the budget planner, the biggest part about that is you set the amount that you want to save within those jars. So if you ever look at the savings jars in the budget planner, there is no set amount. There are no numbers. It's just a jar. And the great part about that is you get to decide, okay, looking at this jar, looking at how many lines I have, I want to save $5,000 or $10,000 or 15, and then you get to decide how much each line is worth. And so it's a blank slate. With the savings trackers, especially the ones in this particular book, they have amounts. Like I have amounts in here that are telling you, like, this is save $2,000. Now I don't have a timeline, but there are numbers in each one of these jars. And as I color them in, I know how much each jar is worth. Right? So that's the biggest difference. The jars on the budget planner, there is no amount. You get to decide, you set it up. The jars that are in this workbook, they are set for you. So you know how much you're saving. And once you color in each jar, then you know exactly how much you have set aside. So that is the only difference. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. And you could use the saving jars if that works for you in the budget planner, the new budget planner, then you could just use the savings jars, and you could set each an amount for every single line and color it in as you go. Both of them work well. I love them both. Sometimes I have a really big amount and I need to save that. And so I will use one of the jars because the amount that I need to save doesn't fit the tracker. And then other times I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use two of these trackers, still make it work, and just use the tracker so that I don't have to calculate how much I need to save each time. Both of them work. Both of them. We are looking for any way possible that's going to help us save this money consistently. That's my only goal. Like, I really just want you to find ways to be able to plan this in a way that makes it super easy for you, because at the end of the day, budgeting is only challenging because of all of the loops and randomness that can happen throughout life. And when life lifes, then you need something that helps you to kind of ground yourself, to help you to refocus and come up with a new plan. Like I am planning plan A, plan B, then it might be plan C and D, depending on what is going on in my life at the time, right? And that's what we are all doing in a bunch of aspects of our life, through our life, with our family, with our kids, with our work. We could get thrown in a loop at any time. And the one thing about my planner, it is my hub of peace. It brings me back to center. As soon as I open it, I'm like, okay, how can I restructure this and get back on track? That's a majority of the situations that I'm doing or using with my planner. All right. Um, what's the best product that you sell would be best for absolute beginners? So I believe the very first, like the best thing that you can do if you're just starting out is the simplified budget planner. So I have two budget planners within my shop. One is a detailed budget planner. That one is for people who want to go a little bit more in depth with their numbers, probably has a little bit more experience with sinking funds and cash envelopes and all of the other words that we may use from time to time in the financial space. But if you are really just starting out, I have a simplified budget, which is just your paycheck budget. It is really you just breaking down your paycheck, how much you want to save, how much debt you want to pay off in the net, and looking at the ending numbers at the end of the month. And that's basically it with that budget planner. And the reason why I love that one so much, first of all, it's the very first one that I created. It is where I started. And second of all, I love it so much because I believe it's really, really easy if you're just starting out. So I have the download option on Etsy, and I also have the printed option. It comes as a disc-bound planner, which it comes with black disc, but this is my Tom 90 planner. But with both of them, with any planner that I sell, it's disc bound, so you're able to take the pages off and put them on. And that's one thing that I love about my planners in general, because when you have a customizable planner, you're able to add in things through things that are just happening in life, right? So if something major happens with my budget, if something major happens with anything that's kind of going on, I can add it into my planner. I can just put in the sheet of paper and punch it in and punch the holes into my planner. And it makes it really, really easy to add things and take them out. And that's why I kind of customize my planner every single month. If this is your first time ever really like hearing about my system or my process, I just posted a video Tuesday that really is starting to go into more details with my planning, my system, and my process. And I'm going to be doing more videos all throughout the month of April, really diving into this topic. And then on Thursdays, we are really diving into the money side of this topic. So live classes are back. I've been really trying my best to get back on these live classes, y'all. How can you order the stickers? They are on Etsy. I sell a lot of functional stickers there. So if you need any functional stickers to kind of manage your life or manage your money, I have budget stickers and no spend stickers that I use every now and then when I'm trying to really, really save money. And I think the next class, I'm going to be talking about like no spends and how to kind of set them up. So we'll talk about that as well. But those are the things that I would recommend. They are on Etsy though. Everything is on Etsy, including the workbook that I was talking about today. Any other questions? The thing is like, I feel like this is most of us. Here's the thing. I feel like whenever you are on a journey, and I have been on my money journey for quite some time, and it has not been a linear journey. I don't think that exists. I think that we have times where we're doing really well, and then times where we kind of fall off, and then we kind of got to regroup, and then we fall off, and then we regroup, and that's the journey. That's really the journey. The month of March, I was all over the place. And it was because I got really busy. And whenever I get really busy, my money suffers. It really does, because I don't have as much time as I need to take the time to really sit down with it. And so what I usually end up doing is I will kind of reset and kind of start fresh with the month. And that is exactly what I'm doing in the month of April. I'm probably going to talk about this a little bit more in tomorrow's video, where I'm kind of telling you all kind of like where I've been. But my headspace has just been like, ooh, this is spendy. Girl, that's a very good, I like that, almost organized out. It was a very spendy month. 100%. It was very spendy. And I'm like, whoa, girl, like you need to pull this in. You need to go ahead and reel yourself back in. Don't beat yourself up because it's life, right? This is going to happen. But it's time to reel yourself back in. Okay? So thank you all so much for joining me. Remember, the savings workbook is up now. Also, if you are a part of Organize You, I am mailing everything over to you. If you are part of Organize You, you've already done the happy mail and you did not receive what you're supposed to receive, you should have got some stickers last month. If you didn't get anything from me ever, you've never gotten anything, email me. I put my email in the chat box. Email me, because that must means I need to look at the system and make sure that everything is set up for you. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. So my shirt says coffee and confidence. I love it. Thank you. I had to take my extra tape to yeah, and you know what? I've done that too. So 100% I'm with you. I will see you all later. Stay encouraged. You all got this. We're going to get through this whole spending season, saving season, debt tracking, all of this. We're going to get through it together. And I will see you all next Thursday for another live and in tomorrow's YouTube video. Bye, y'all. Have a good one.